Good day, sports fans. Breaking news coming in from Stamford Bridge as Chelsea FC intensifies their hunt for defensive reinforcements. I'm bringing you exclusive details on the Blues' ambitious transfer plans that could reshape their backline. For the upcoming season, Chelsea have reportedly rekindled their interest in Benfica defender Tomas Araujo, a player they previously pursued last summer with a $60 million bid that was firmly rejected. According to fresh information from reliable sources, the Portuguese giants are now standing firm on their $80 million release clause valuation for the 22-year-old talent. This developing story highlights Chelsea's determination to strengthen their defensive options, with the club making informal contact with Benfica to gauge the possibility of a deal. What makes this particularly interesting is that Real Madrid are also monitoring the situation, setting up a potential heavyweight transfer battle for one of Europe's emerging defensive talents. The Blues appear to be casting a wide net in their search for defensive reinforcements, with Dean Huijsen reportedly topping their wish list alongside Crystal Palace's Marc Guehi. However, Araujo represents a slightly different profile at 22 years old, more experienced than teenage prospect Huijsen, but still with tremendous upside potential. My sources indicate Chelsea's recruitment team views Araujo as a player of growing interest, who could provide the perfect blend of ball-playing ability and defensive solidity that manager Mauricio Pochettino is seeking to incorporate into his tactical system. While the $80 million price tag appears steep, Chelsea's ownership has demonstrated their willingness to invest heavily in young talent with high ceiling potential since taking over the club. The question remains whether they'll be prepared to meet Benfica's demands or use this interest as leverage in negotiations for their other defensive targets. Chelsea's defensive overhaul strategy takes shape. The interest in Araujo isn't happening in isolation, it's part of a calculated defensive rebuild strategy at Chelsea. The club appears to be prioritizing a significant overhaul of their backline this summer, with several current defenders potentially heading for the exit door to fund new arrivals. My exclusive information suggests Chelsea are actively looking to offload players like Axel Disasi, Renato Vega, and Trevoh Chalobah in the coming months. Each of these defenders could command fees in excess of $30 million, potentially generating substantial transfer funds that could be reinvested in targets like Araujo. What's particularly noteworthy about Chelsea's approach is their systematic identification of defenders with specific technical profiles. Rather than panic buying, the club appears to be conducting thorough due diligence on multiple options to ensure they don't become fixated on a single target and risk overpaying, a lesson learned from previous transfer windows. The inclusion of Araujo on their shortlist indicates Chelsea are seeking defenders comfortable in possession, but also capable of thriving in the physically demanding Premier League environment. At 22, the Portuguese defender has already accumulated significant experience at the highest level with Benfica, while still having his prime years ahead of him. This calculated approach represents a shift in Chelsea's transfer strategy under the current ownership group, moving toward a more data-driven recruitment model that prioritizes value and potential return on investment. The club has clearly identified the defense as an area requiring significant reinforcement following inconsistent performances throughout the current campaign. Chelsea's recruitment team appears to be working with a clear brief: identify young, technically gifted defenders who can contribute immediately while appreciating in value over the long term. Araujo fits this profile perfectly, explaining why the club has maintained interest despite Benfica's substantial asking price. The competition from Real Madrid adds another fascinating dimension to this pursuit. The Spanish giants are known for their ability to attract top defensive talent, as evidenced by their successful integration of players like Antonio Rudiger and David Alaba in recent seasons. This could potentially force Chelsea to accelerate their approach or risk losing out on one of their primary targets. Financial strategy and transfer alternatives. The economics behind this potential deal reveal much about Chelsea's overall transfer strategy for the upcoming window. While the $80 million release clause represents a significant investment, Chelsea's approach suggests they're exploring creative ways to make such a deal financially viable. According to my sources, Chelsea's priority sequence appears clear. They'll first focus on player sales to generate liquidity before advancing serious negotiations for their primary targets. The potential departures of Disasi, Vega, and Chalobah could collectively raise upwards of $90 million if managed effectively, providing ample resources to pursue Araujo or alternatives. However, Huijsen remains Chelsea's top defensive target with his more affordable $50 million release clause. The Blues are expected to prioritize discussions for the young defender, before potentially pivoting to alternatives like Araujo if complications arise. This sequential approach demonstrates a more disciplined transfer strategy than seen in previous windows. What makes Chelsea's interest in Araujo particularly significant is the $20 million increase in his valuation since their previous bid just last summer. This dramatic price inflation reflects both the player's continued development and the premium placed on top defensive talent in today's market. It also indicates Benfica's growing confidence in the player's trajectory and potential ceiling. From a tactical perspective, Araujo would provide Chelsea with a versatile defensive option capable of playing in multiple systems. His technical ability aligns with the progressive playing style Pochettino has attempted to implement, while his physical attributes suggest he could adapt quickly to Premier League demands. For Chelsea supporters, this pursuit represents an exciting indication of the club's ambition, despite missing out on Champions League qualification. The willingness to compete for highly rated talents like Araujo demonstrates a long-term vision focused on building a squad capable of challenging for major honors in the coming seasons. If you're enjoying this breaking transfer news, please hit that like button and drop a comment below with your thoughts on which defender you think Chelsea should prioritize this summer. This is your football correspondent, bringing you the latest from the transfer market with all the passion and excitement these developments deserve. Chelsea's defensive rebuild is clearly taking shape, and I'll be here to bring you every development as it unfolds. Stay tuned for more exclusive updates on this developing story.